Okay, we're going to start with the evaluation contest. Evaluation contestant and judges training. I now turn the floor over to Jeffrey Purtee, an excellent evaluator, speaker, and everything else.
Thank you, Art. I'm sure Art said it, but I was busy nutsing with the audio-visual aspect of this, and we're filming this to see how it works. We're also audio recording it. But of course, the other reason to enter is because you want to win. That's the most fun. I love contests. I've won, I've lost. Let me tell you, it's always more fun when you win. It really is. I just can't get around it. I learn something every time. I always enter, although I'm retired now. But I'll never miss an opportunity to enter a contest because I learned every time. It forces you to improve to the maximum you can in the discipline that you're working on and to get judged on how successful you are. Evaluation contests are very similar to the book evaluations you see in your club on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. But there are a few differences. Now, I have to check. Do you have copies of the evaluation judging ballot before you? It looks like this. It has 4 categories. Is that one that you have with you? Good. We will be referring to that. Not the humorous speech. It's the evaluation. Mr. Grossman, current chief judge, will be handing these out to those of you that may not have a copy of the evaluation ballot. This is the ballot.
It's in the packet.
This is the ballot that your judges will be using in a contest. I wish to call your attention to a critical component not present in a club evaluation, and that is the 4th item, the summary. Does someone please want to tell me, looking over to the right from the summary, how many points that summary is worth? 15 out of 100 points. My friends, I have won a lot of evaluation contests I should not have won simply because I gave a very effective summary. You want to improve your winning percentage on evaluation contests if you will simply add a summary. Save about 15 seconds to add a summary to your evaluation. It will instantly improve your evaluation in the judge's eye. Okay? So that is critical. Now the other categories, as you can see, analytical quality, recommendations, and technique. Analytical quality, how you analyze the speech. Recommendations, how effective are you in helping the speaker. And technique, do you do it in a loving and supportive Toastmasters manner? Because nobody wants an evaluation that said, that was the worst speech ever. No, that's bad. We want to be loving and supportive in all of our evaluations. Quick example of how to give an evaluation. As you see, the word is summary. What's the word? Summary. Summary is correct. Why is that so important? Because when you are in a contest, you have a variety of judges. Some will be more experienced than others, but they will all have that same ballot. So sometimes even people who give effective summaries will say, in conclusion, or I wish to reiterate, or a variety of methods. The way I start my summary is to summarize my evaluation. Why do I do that? Because I'm alerting the judge. Summary, summarize. And I'm saying to all you judges in the room, get ready to give me my 15 points on the summary. Here it comes. If there was a way to work it in, I would put in the other 4 keywords there under analytics and recommendation, and I do use the word recommendation, not suggestion or whatever. I recommend, because again, I want the judges looking at the ballot and saying, oh, he hit this point, oh, he hit this point, oh, he hit this point. By the way, little tip, I do that on the international ballot and humorous speech ballot. I look at the categories and I try to think, how do I make it clear to get maximum points on every category? And if you just do a summary, it will set you apart as a contestant. As a judge, keep in mind that a summary is not thank you, or go out and win one for the Gipper, or look forward to your next speech. I've seen contestants win who should not have won. They had no summary. And folks, if you are in a contest, and it's a fair contest, and you instantly give up 15 points to your competitors, you should not be able to win no matter how good the rest of your evaluation is. That's 15 points, and you see a really good evaluation as a judge, but they don't do a summary, they get a donut. And I mean, that's just the way it is. Now, if they do some kind of summary, you know, you can rank that. You don't give them the full 15, but say, to conclude, wonderful speech, and you did so many good things that I really look forward to seeing your next speech. Well, that's kind of a summary, so I would call that maybe a 4 or 5 point summary. So they've only given up 10 points to someone who did a full summary. I harp on this because that's one difference between a book evaluation and a contest evaluation. And we already have a question from the floor from Mike.
Not a question, a comment.
A comment.
So far this season, I have judged 4 local club contests. Out of the 4, there has been 1 contestant who gave a summary.
So the comment is, he's judged 4 contests, and out of all 4 contests, he's seen 1 summary.
Not only that, but there have only been like 3 people who have made recommendations.
Ooh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Only 3 people have made recommendations. Recommendations are the heart of any evaluation because we are here to help each other. It does nothing except massage your ego to give an evaluation that says how wonderful the speaker is. You must have a recommendation. I am not going to name names, except that their initials, no, I'm just kidding. I was the model speaker in an evaluation contest once. The winner was a wonderful gentleman. He was a humorous speaker, and he gave a delightful, funny evaluation. In fact, my dear friend Art was at the same contest. He gave a delightful, funny evaluation. I'm the model speaker. I'm sitting taking notes. Had the people in stitches, had the people laughing. Made not 1 recommendation that I can take home and use to improve my speech. Not 1. Conversely, a person who is less ebullient, enthusiastic, charismatic, gave a very well organized evaluation, giving me 2 tips that I still use to this day to improve my speaking, finished second. Personally, I thought it was a travesty, just an absolute travesty, and that's one of the reasons that Art and I work so hard to try to improve judging of all contests, because that should never happen. No matter how entertaining he is, it's all about helping the speaker. If you haven't given me a recommendation, well, it was gratifying from an ego basis, but you've given me nothing to improve. Because I'm an accountant, because I'm slow, because I lack creativity, I developed a form to help with evaluations. Now I use this for book evaluations too. I'm going to briefly go over the form, how I construct the evaluation, how I deliver it, and then I'll turn it over to Art. As you can see, the colorful side here is where I take my notes when someone is delivering a speech. On the left, I make little notes, little stars. For example, if someone was really good in use of props or bad in use of notes, I can put minus signs, I can do a numeric ranking. You're smart people, you can figure out however you want to do it. Sometimes I'll circle it. If someone's really good, it's like circle and exclamation points. Wow, they had great vocal variety. Then over on the right, because I tend to forget, I will put down how do they open. Here's another quick tip. You get lots of tips. I just kind of do this in free-form fashion. Folks, if you come out in a contest that I'm judging, and you start that contest with Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, you automatically get a 5-point deduction on my ballot. That is what we call an opening inanity. And this great Winston Churchill once said, opening amenities equal opening inanities. You have 15 seconds to capture people's attention, to decide if you're worth listening to. Do not waste 7 or 8 of those with that. Now, I'm not saying don't do it, but when you come out and first speak, I want you to grab my attention. Make me want to listen to you. And if If you start off with, gosh, thank you. Isn't this a wonderful day? How about a weather report? No, I want to know why I should listen to you. So you get these tips for free, by the way. No extra charge. That's just our gift to you. So I put down the opening. I put down the body, make little comments. How did they conclude? What is the speech message? Then I flip it over, and ordinarily this is printed sideways. I printed this wrong this time. But essentially it's usually printed sideways, but since we have it this way, I'm going to tell you what I do. On the right-hand side are notes on the evaluation delivery. You can read those yourself. And every evaluation I construct the same way. I have a positive, upbeat opening. Now, can I ask you your name, please? Keith. Keith. Keith, that was the best explanation of why Elvis is still alive I've ever heard. Something positive, something upbeat, not necessarily the evaluation, but it relates to his speech. Now, again, if it's a book speech, it's a little different because you're doing book. I always start off with book objectives. Some positive explanation. Then I have a commendation. The way you imitated the king when you sang "Hunka Hunka Burnin' Love" just had my heart palpitating. I commend you for the use of your singing talents. Then I'll give them another commendation. Then I will have at least one recommendation. For example, Keith, when you made the transition from the singing part to explaining how Elvis is not an alien, you might have wanted to add a transitional phrase, so I recommend you consider a transitional phrase such as, many years later, when Elvis was suggested to be an alien, we knew for a fact he wasn't because. That would be a recommendation. Now, I never give more than 2 recommendations. Then I have a concluding commendation. Why? Because I want the last thing that he hears from me to be very positive and very upbeat. Now, there's a reason I structure it this way. Let me ask you a question. Because you're looking to the side, so I'm going to come to you. Here's a tip. In my presentation, if you look to the side, you're getting the next question. I'm just kidding. If I come to you with an evaluation and I say, wow, boy, you got a lot to work on. Your vocal variety was sad.
That's pretty true.
Your structure was just all over the place. And I didn't believe your premise at all. Plus, you know, your opening was just one inanity after another. Do you feel empowered and excited about improving? No, of course you don't. Secondly, if I give you 4 or 5 items and you walk away and your next speech is a week or 2 later, which one do you work on?
Your next speech.
I don't show up.
Which of the recommendations that I give do you work on? The answer is you have no idea. What I invite you to think about in recommendations is this. Picture the speaker giving this exact same speech 1 week later. What one, or possibly 2, and most of the time in a book, anyway, it's 1. In a contest, I usually do 2 because I want the judges to know that I am aware there are more than 1. What 1 or 2 recommendations could you make that would have the greatest impact the next time they give this speech? That's what you want them working on. We're limited in what we can focus on at any one time. So give them that 1 or 2 suggestions. Then conclude with a commendation, your 15-point summary. Boom! They'll be handing you the trophy, inviting you to give this training. It'll be a beautiful, beautiful thing. Questions before we go to the video? Questions on this process? Bill?
I just have one. When you were talking about you were talking about the summation, and then you started talking about the recommendation, and I think this covers both. If a person is giving a summary, and you said if it's a very weak summary, you might give them a few points, but what would you look for most in the summary? To me, I would think it would be to reiterate the recommendations, but do you agree with that, or do you have?
You'll see this in the video that you're about to see, but my summaries are always the same. I reiterate what I said, and I end on a positive note. To summarize my evaluation, I suggest To summarize my evaluation, I commend you for your effective vocal variety. I commend you for the way you use the stage. I recommend you consider more effective transitions. Finally, I want to applaud you for the incredible way you brought Elvis into our lives. In summer, and then you conclude with a wonderful, engaging speech, and I look forward to many more from you. So that's it. It doesn't take long. I just reiterate what I did so that it's fresh in their mind, end it on a positive note, and walk off the stage.
So ideally, they hit them all.
So yeah, I like to hit them all in an effective summary as a reiteration of all the suggestions you make.